Come on and sit down. So there you go. So you had the pleasure of presenting the Alan Waters Humanitarian Award this evening.
I did. And to me, it's probably one of the most potent, important awards out there. I think we have to continue to infuse that sense of conscience in artists, and that's what Regine has done and her band, Arcade Fire and Vin. And they're just such an incredible band. And the moment I first heard that band, and Wake Up and Rebellion, I knew it was one of my favorite records of the last 20 years because it had soul. The band's got soul. You could feel that. And we don't create music in a bell jar. We don't create music in a vacuum. We create music because we're aware of what's going on in the world and the various incredible spectrum of emotions and love, joy, suffering that people go through. And they specifically have focused on Haiti, Regine's family there. But the Plus One initiative is brilliant. And they've got the Arkells on board and Metric and a bunch of other artists. So we're going to take part in that, and it's just such a brilliant concept. That $1 of a ticket can make that much of a difference, spread over a bunch of artists doing a lot of shows. They vet the charities so that you know the money's being spent well, hopefully, and just such a brilliant concept. So her speech was so stirring. I mean, it was just a real stirring speech for me.
She is wonderful, and the work that they've done is so great. I remember when the earthquake happened there, and they were on tour at that time in support of, I think it was around the suburbs, because I remember seeing them, and that was the point where they had just developed the, they were sort of donating money, and they had everyone in the audience could text a number, and that just gave $5, to relief in that country, and they every night would talk about that on stage, and I remember reading the number at the end, but they helped make a difference, like in a very sincere way, and it's not just about sort of the performative aspect of sort of taking a stand, but they are so actively making a difference.
Yeah, they're activists, and that's they've segued into that. They've reached the pinnacle of success, as far as I'm concerned, for a band, and They get the concept that the money is a tool and the success is a tool for helping to do some good, and it's wonderful.
Do you see that attitude being more or less prevalent than maybe it has been sort of in the past?
Absolutely. I think kids in particular now are much more aware of what's going on in the world, and they're aware of these issues, and even from an early age, 5, 6, 7, 8 years of age. You see it. So I think it. I think it is. I think it's a pretty wonderful generation, the young generation.
What do you credit that to?
I think maybe evolution in a sense. It's hard not to be aware of some of the stuff that's going on. I mean, we have a lot of things that desensitize us in our world, and social media can do that. But it also, is a tool for awareness, and. It's just good to see.
Yeah. What are the sort of causes or things that sort of move you right now and kind of stir you to
well,
action?
I've always loved the work that World Vision does, and kind of refocusing stuff. But I think that we've got to be aware of climate change and everything else that's going on, and it's important. But I think that Regine, in my I've gone through the run the gamut where we focused on HIV in Africa, and we went through that, and we lobbied for change there and getting antiretroviral drugs to people that need them in Africa, and we've done fight against poverty and vaccinations, and that a lot of it through World Vision because I trust the organization. I think it's a matter of finding an organization, whether it's Free the Children and Craig Kielburger. I mean, these are, if you feel strong with that organization, then support them. Or do it on a community basis, at home as well. I mean, it's there's plenty of things to focus on at home. So it's just good to see that's moving on, and there's a social conscience out there.
So do you ever sort of fall victim to this sort of fatalistic mentality? Because especially when you talk about social media and sometimes it can feel very overwhelming. You talk about climate change, and you're like, are we on an irreversible course? And I think that can be...
Well, I mean, I've always felt that as human beings, all you can do is the best you can do. If you take the negative attitude, it's like, well, why the heck do you clean up the kitchen? You're just going to mess it up again.
That's fair, yeah.
So but the nature of being human beings is that we have to you have to put one foot ahead of the other, and you keep going. You keep making your bed. After you sleep in it every day, and it's going to get messed up again, and that's the nature of the human condition. But the thing that really, at the end of the day and at the end of your life and all of that stuff, not to get too heavy about it, it's how you respond to things that counts, and it's how you deal with stuff that counts, and that's why we that's part of the human condition, right? That's what defines who we are as human beings, as individuals.
It's an inspiring metaphor, to be honest. I mean, I like that. That's sort of, you make your bed. I make my bed. I don't really know why I do it, but I think it's important.
And it's going to get messed up again. So.
Exactly. It's all going to happen.
And unfortunately, it's an imperfect world.
Yeah.
And there's going to be problems, and there's going to be stuff, and it's how you respond to them as individuals. If you take the nihilistic approach that, F it, we're not going to worry. I mean, then I suppose that's one way of looking at it, and it's one approach. But if you're positive the way Arcade Fire are and the way Regine is so passionate about the work that they've done in Haiti, then it's amazing how that fuels your soul, and it makes you stronger, and it makes you a better person, and it makes the world a better place. It just I've always gotten more out of the work that I've done for World Vision, for instance. I feel that I put in, because I don't get remunerated, I don't get paid for the work, but it recharges the batteries, and it makes you feel better about what you're doing with your music. And it's not completely self-serving. I think that's the key. Things that are self-serving, if it's always just self-serving, your batteries tend to run down, And we've seen examples of artists that have been like that. We've seen examples of artists that have changed and learned from that. I'm not going to name any names right now, but there's one very popular Canadian one that's gone through a bit of a catharsis that way. So, young guy, and that's life. You live and learn too, and you draw from those experiences and you learn from them. And just to give up, I don't know. I don't think that's our way. I don't think it's a Canadian way. I don't think it's the way of musicians and artists and bands either. I think that. To be passionate about your work is to be passionate about the world, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a great way to look at things. Tom, thank you so much for your time. And then we
my
have
pleasure.
this beautiful painting of you. Mandy's,
did you just do this?
Apparently.
Yeah.
That's incredible. I love it.
Yeah, so Mandy's been over here doing
my hair
paintings
look
of everyone that we
that
talked to. Yeah, that's actually how purple your hair is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've had a chance to check yourself out in the mirror over the last couple hours, but it's getting wild up there. It is just getting real crazy.
That's fun.
Yeah.
That's good.
Oh, yeah.
Sir, can you just hold the picture up into this?
Yeah.
And we can see how it melds with your actual purple hair. That is yeah. Who's the real Tom? Yeah. It's great. Awesome, Tom. Thank you so much for your time and all your work. It's a pleasure. Yeah. Cheers.